It is insanely common for artists to be able to draw the most stunning anime faces, with flowing hair, expressive eyes, and proportionally accurate heads, but then they go and try to draw the body and oh no. Oh my, that's not even a human. But if this sounds like you, or you're simply here to learn something new, I got you. Because today we're going to be going through a step-by-step process on how to draw the upper torso of a male anime character, from the sketch to the finished product. So put your serious face on, get all your art supplies ready, and let's begin. Now the most important thing to do before drawing bodies or poses is to have a basic understanding of human proportions. Now I know that this can be quite a daunting task, as the human body is no simple structure, so because of that, I created Bob. Bob is a very simple man made up of basic shapes, but he's anatomically correct. So he's going to help us out with our proportions. So feel free to draw your own copy of Bob, and let's get started with our drawing. So instead of getting too caught up with all the intricacies of human anatomy, we're going to start out by drawing a super light stick figure to map out how big our drawing is going to be and what overall pose our character will be doing. And the only thing you need to really focus on here is using Bob as a reference for drawing your limbs the correct size and proportion. Now let's draw in our head using the skills we learned in the previous tutorials, and then we can start giving our stick figure some muscles. Starting out with the traps, which is this triangle shaped muscle that connects our neck to our shoulders. Then we can add the collarbone with a few simple lines like this. And before we add any more muscles, I like to super roughly sketch the shape of the torso so I can visualize where everything's gonna go. Bob also approves of this strategy. Now let's add in the shoulder closest to us with this boulder-like shape, making sure that all the edges are curved so the shape looks more natural. Then for the chest, we're gonna use this pentagon-like shape, again making sure to use curved lines to make the muscles look 3D. Then begin creating the torso, and when doing this, make sure to curve this line to show the latimus dorsi muscle, which is the biggest muscle of your upper body. Then we can add in the other shoulder like this, and you can pause here to copy what I got so far. Now let's start off our arms by adding in the bicep, and then the tricep, the muscle on the bottom of our arms. Then we can add in our forearms, and when doing so, make sure they're quite thick at the start, and then gradually get thinner as they get closer to the hand. Then we can draw in the other arm using the same strategy. Now I know a lot of people struggle with drawing hands, so here's a simple strategy I use. Find yourself a reference photo with the same pose as the one you're doing, and break down the palm into this simple shape. Doing this will help you identify what angle your hand will be, and make it way easier to add in the fingers, knuckles, and details instead of trying to do all of that without any guidelines. But with that, the structure of our drawing is complete, and now it's time for the fun part. Using the knowledge and skills we gained in the previous tutorials, we're now going to add in the face and hair to our upper body drawing. I'm going to be drawing Garou from the One Punch Man anime, but feel free to draw whoever you like. But with that, our sketch is complete. Hey Bob, what do you think about... Bob? Wait, where'd he go? Oh, there he is. Well, because Bob insisted that we fine line our sketch, I reckon we give that a go. If you've seen the previous tutorials, you already know that I like to use a very thin fine liner of about 0.3mm to fine line my anime drawings, as if you use much thicker than that, it's going to be really hard to get those nice little details in. And now Bob, what do you think about the draw- Oh! He vanished again? Oh my. Bob has asked for us to add color to our drawing, so let's get started on that. But before we do, we gotta make sure we've used an eraser to get rid of all the messy little sketch lines. And we also gotta decide which side the light is gonna come from and which side our shadows are gonna be on. For mine, I decided my shadows will be on the right, so with a medium dark marker, I'm adding shadows on the right side of every muscle group, following the shapes that the muscles make. Then find a marker that you want as your main skin tone, and use an outwards flicking motion when applying the ink. And when doing this, make sure you're flicking away from those darker areas and towards the areas where the light will be hitting. Then with an even lighter skin tone, use that flicking motion again, flicking towards the areas we left white, and then you'll see once your ink dries that the drawing is starting to come together. Now with a darker marker, let's add some more shadows on the very edges and in the very corners of the shadow sections like this, and then blend them out with the initial color we used for the shadows. Doing this will make your drawings have much more contrast and make the lighting look more intense. But also, if you want your character to have more of a natural lighting, then simply don't use as dark of a color for the shadows. Then another trick is to use a light pink color to add a soft layer of pink to the skin. And then as you color the sections that are closest to your light source, simply use the same technique but make the shadows smaller. Now for coloring parts of the drawing that aren't skin color, find a variety of values of the color you want and simply lay down your medium marker on the shadow side, just like before. Then get your darkest marker and flick outwards from the very edges to make each section look more 3D. And if you've watched the previous tutorials in this series, you shouldn't have any problems with coloring the face or the hair. But the only thing to make sure of is make sure the shadows on the face and the hair are on the same side as everything else, because otherwise the drawing's gonna look a bit strange. But as we add the finishing touches to the eyes, our upper body drawing of Garou is complete. and that is how to draw the upper torso of a male anime character. But if you also want to learn how to draw the upper body of a female anime character, then make sure to watch the next video in this tutorial series. So I'll see you all there.